What are the steps to get my real estate license in Nebraska? It's not difficult, it's not hard. 3 things you're looking for to get your real estate license. A real estate license is required before you can get into the real estate field to be a real estate agent or a realtor. You're starting your own business. So again, you're not going to be an employee of somebody and you're not going to be working under somebody. This isn't like you go shadow or go work with anybody, okay? When you start your own business, it's your company. That doesn't mean you won't have support or a brokerage or a team behind you to help show you what to do once you get your license. But I'm just telling you, it's your business. So how do I get into real estate, or how do I get going? You've got to get a license first, okay? Then after that, the next process is finding a brokerage or a team. But in this video, I specifically want to talk about how do I get my real estate license. So in Nebraska, the first thing you need to do is you need to take 66 hours of classes. You can take those classes from a real estate school. You can take those from a college if you'd like to as well, or you can also take those from an online university or an online real estate school. You can take them really from anywhere you want. I always like to recommend a really good online school like Van Ed. They're certified in Nebraska. What's nice about Van Ed is, and I have no financial incentive, just so you know, to send people there. You can choose to do where you want. But Van Ed is a pretty good school. Total cost all in is about $350 for the classes. If you want to take them in person, you can take them locally at Larrabee in Lincoln, the Randall Real Estate School in Omaha. Results Coaching also has a school here in Omaha. Those are also really good. Just so you know, you're going to spend about $400 to $500 for online classes. You're going to spend roughly $800 to $1,200 for in-person classes. So in-person classes are a little bit more, but it depends on your learning style. If you need that to hold you accountable to make sure you're showing up, then maybe in-person is for you. If you're okay with self-paced online, like a Van Ed per se, you can log in and take them anytime you want, day, night, weekend, anytime. So it adds a lot of flexibility and freedom. Versus in-person, you got to go at certain days and times. Normally, when you do online, it takes most people about 2 to 3 months to get through the classes. When you're doing them in person, most of the time it's 3 to 5 months, just because of the time frame of when they have the availability, okay? The second step is you'd have to do a background check, okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to go on the Nebraska Real Estate Commission and you're going to register yourself. When you register yourself, the fingerprints get sent to you in the mail, okay? So once you go on to the Nebraska Real Estate Commission and you register you want to be a realtor, they will send you fingerprints in the mail. You don't need to do that. You could also contact the Sheriff's Department locally, but to keep it simple, contact the Nebraska Real Estate Commission to get yourself fingerprinted. That's the next step is you get fingerprinted and you do a background check. So you make an appointment with the sheriff's office online or you call them, you show up, they fingerprint you, they send everything off. That normally takes about 4 to 6 weeks to get the results back. So plan ahead for that so that way when you finish the classes, you're not waiting for the background check. The third and final step is you take a test. You can't take the test until you have your background check and the class is done. Just so you know, you won't be able to submit anything or register for the test. The test consists of 2 tests, a national test and a state test. The national test isn't the same in every state, just so you know, even though it's a national test. Every state has a different national section, but for the most part, it's general real estate knowledge that every realtor needs to know at every single state. That's why they call it a national test. In Nebraska, there's 100 questions on the national test. You need to have at least a 70% pass rate. And the next portion is there is the state test, which has 50 questions. So it's 150 all in for both tests. The state test, like I said, also 70% pass rate. You take 2 different tests and you have to pass both tests. If you pass one of the 2, you only have to take the other portion you didn't pass. So let's say you took national and state and you passed state. The next 2 attempts, the next 2 tries, you can take the national test to see if you will pass that section. If you do, you'll be certified. So you don't need to go in and take both tests every time, which is awesome. So usually I always recommend try to pass one of the 2, and that way next time going in, you only have to take a smaller test or one portion, so it's not as much to study. Just so you know, most people take the test 4 times as the average. It's a 31% pass rate last time I heard. So don't be alarmed or scared thinking that you're doing something wrong. Most of the time, it's difficult because it's all about terminology and studying things. That's not actually what you do in real estate. Sadly, what you learn from real estate school and taking the test, you're going to use a small portion of that once you get your business going. That doesn't mean that it's not important. Obviously, it's required. But at the end of the day, that's not going to tell you if you're going to be good or bad with real estate. So don't sweat that. To take the test, it's $150 every time you take it, whether it's national or state or both. It's $150 every time you take the test. So just be prepared for that. I always recommend that you do prep work, which a lot of real estate companies, schools, colleges, and businesses offer. I highly recommend you do prep so you don't have to take it 3 or 4 times. There's a really good opportunities out there for prep. There's a lot of options. I don't want to cover those in this video. But at the end of the day, those are the steps. 66 hours of classes, background check, take the test, pass. At that point, you're licensed and you're ready to become a real estate agent and pick your next brokerage or team.